And Marcel Desailly is here alongside Ferdinand and Mark Lawrenson. Well, after Thursday's shock departure of José Mourinho from Chelsea, an air of uncertainty hangs over Stamford Bridge. Does Avram Grant have the experience to take Chelsea to the next level? Does he even have the correct coaching qualifications? And how will Roman Abramovich react to a talk of a mass exodus of players and a backlash from the fans? Here's Garth Crooks. His report contains flash photography.
We understand that Chelsea have parted company with their manager, José Mourinho.
Sue, what a shocker. We had people spluttering into their cornflakes this morning.
I don't think there's no one in the world that does what Mr. Mourinho does.
We've got rid of the best coach in the world, I think, and whoever we get isn't going to be as good.
No one could replace him.
Having decided to part with the most successful manager in their history, Chelsea had the media eagerly awaiting the unveiling of the new boss, Avram Grant. And we waited and waited, and finally he arrived.
Can you handle some of the biggest stars in football?
If I saw that I cannot make it, I didn't take the job. I took the job because I think that I can handle all the situations, including what you say, to make things better. Things was good, I must say, things was good until now also. But to make things better, including the dressing room.
Was Avram appointed because he is a friend of Abramovich? The answer is no. Roman Abramovich doesn't make important appointments on a whim or because someone is a friend. He's a very successful businessman, and in consultation with the board, this was a thoughtful decision, and it was made on the basis of merit.
Avram, how many Champions League games have you been involved in?
Not many. I was not.
6.
I don't know. I didn't count. You count better than me, I think. But
is that enough for a club of this stature?
Wait and see. Maybe yes, maybe no.
Well, it's a tough act to follow, even with Grant's limited coaching qualifications. But we're told he's staying for a while.
This is a permanent appointment. Avram's aware of the role and responsibilities.
How long is permanent?
What do you mean, how long is permanent?
How long is the contract been given?
We actually haven't negotiated or agreed a contract like you're referring to with Avram. I mean, things have happened pretty quickly, and that's something we'll do in the days ahead.
But you know, in football, the permanent is not permanent, and the not permanent is permanent. I will come to do my job. If I need to be 1 day or 4 years or 5 years, I try to do my best for the club.
So no contract, and with the exception of Steve Clarke, no coaches either, leaving Avram much to ponder.
We have a problem now with a physical coach for the moment and the goalkeeper coach. We are looking for the right person that is good for Chelsea.
We spoke to the players, I spoke to key members of staff, as we would do in any occasion, so nothing special. And no, I'm not concerned about there being a mass exodus in summer from Chelsea.
So, Chelsea have a new manager, but on the surface, things look like they've finally settled down here at Stamford Bridge. However, things were just beginning to warm up, as only an hour later, José Mourinho decided to hold an impromptu press conference of his own.
I'm not interested in Chelsea football life. I don't care. I don't care at all. At all. For me, Chelsea is a period that finished. I keep the good things in my heart, and nothing else. I was not sacked, and I didn't close the door.
Your players were crying yesterday.
And I was crying too. And I was crying too. In 10 years' time, I will love Chelsea fans. Chelsea fans will love me. In 10 years' time, I will love my players. My players will love me. No doubts about it. But the whole club was not a real block. Was some fractures. And doesn't matter who has responsibilities. Maybe everybody has responsibilities. And I think was the best solution. And I'm a man of war during competition. I'm not a man of war outside competition and outside football. In life, I'm a man of peace. I want peace.
So for Mourinho, the war is over, and Chelsea have every confidence they've appointed their new winning general.
If we're successful at the end of the season, that'll be seen as a more popular decision. And if we, are more successful over the next 5 years than we've been in the last 3, then it's the right decision. And that's the way it works.
It warmed my heart what I see yesterday, how they support José Mourinho so much. He did everything for the club. But about supporters, I can say one thing. The supporter was here before me, before José, and they will stay after I leave and after José, of course, left 2 days ago. For the supporters, I can say only one thing. We will do everything that the club will play positive football, win titles, and I'm sure we can do it.
My next step, I don't compete against them, because I'm not coaching an English club in my next step.
Will you watch at the weekend? Will you watch the game at Manchester United?
No, no.
Do you still think you're the special one?
Of course I'm the special one. Ask my wife if I'm special.
We'll take his word for it on that one. As a former player, Marcel, what do you make of what's gone on at Chelsea?
I will talk about Abramovich. Abramovich is passionate about football, and he have asked some answers to Mourinho. And maybe for the first time, he came into the tactics and the way that Chelsea was playing from the beginning of the season and a little bit from last year. And I'm sure that Mourinho have been a bit annoyed about it, and this is where came the clash.
But despite what they're saying, there has been a disagreement between chairman and manager.
There's been a disagreement. They've been, discussing, and they were not on the same line, and that's why they cut. Mourinho had, the power because the players was loving him also, Then that's why he was still in the job. But it looks like Abramovich was looking for something extra.
Is Grant the right man in your eyes?
Let's see. He doesn't have the experience, but at least he was in the house before those things happened. Then he knows more or less what he can do in the future, and maybe he will stabilize the team and give more entertainment to the crowd, to the people. But we miss Mourinho.
But you have to question the timing of this development.
Well, this was always going to happen, wasn't it? Because the characters involved. But Mourinho is a very good manager for Chelsea. Fact. Chelsea very successful under Mourinho, fact. Managers and chairmen, chief executives and whoever always fall out. Look at Sir Alex Ferguson at Manchester United. How many rows will he have had with all those people in charge over 20 years? My point is, if you get a really good manager, you keep him. Regardless if ultimately Abramovich wants to play a little bit differently. What do you want to be? Successful and play differently as well? Well, sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not possible.
Yes, but you have built a huge club. Maybe you have seen Barcelona play on Wednesday. They have played with skill. They have played, with a lot of
flamboyance.
Yeah.
Marcel, they won nothing last year.
I know, but...
But you have to win. Seriously, if you're at Chelsea, if you're at Manchester United, Liverpool, you have to win competitions. Yeah, it would be nice if you could slowly change the way they play, but what do you want first? Do you want to be entertained?
Yeah.
Or do you want to be successful?
I think the problem you've had there is that they've won a few things now, so now they want to be entertained. And I've said for a few years now, it'd be great that they won the championship in the first 2 seasons, then they won the FA Cup and cups as well, and now the supporters want to be entertained. They'll take that for so long, and then they want the team to entertain them. Unfortunately, they haven't done that, especially this season.
The other thing as well is, I think the day that Avram Grant was appointed in his former job at Chelsea, that was the end.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that it was...
The writing was on the wall then.
Of course it was, because, Benitez, Wenger, Ferguson would not have accepted that. They would have gone, hold on, you want me to manage? Let me manage.
Yeah.
What's the point of having a manager otherwise?
To sign Shevchenko as well. Supposed not to have been the manager's choice.
Yeah.
When those things start to happen, the day that happened, the writing was on the wall for Mourinho. The time was going to come where, he was going to leave Stamford Bridge. We thought it was going to be at the end of last season.
Marcel, you're good friends with Claude Makelele. I mean, have you spoken to him? How will this affect the players at Chelsea?
It affects a lot. Carvalho, for sure. Malouda, who came for Mourinho. I mean, they are all disappointed because I told you, the power of Mourinho, it was the fact that he was, close to the players and he was trying to get, out of them, the best. And for sure, they know that now things will be completely different. And this have affected the players. But they are professional. They have now to come with this new coach. And important is the club, it's not the single people.
I think also players we're all a bit mercenary and we're all a little bit selfish and we all play a little bit for each other. No, it's true. It's the way it is. He's laughing. It's
it is. But he believes you, really. Well, as you can imagine, Chelsea dominate the back pages this morning. Let's start with the Sun. It says players including Drogba, Malouda and Ashley Cole are unhappy with the appointment of Avram Grant. Spurs chairman Daniel Levy has failed with a £5.3 million bid, according to the Mirror. And the Telegraph agrees and says Spurs have been forced to deny that offer and insist Martignol has their full support. Well, our commentator Steve Wilson is at Anfield today. He's been following the Chelsea story closely. Steve, what's your take on events then?
Well, my understanding is that Avram Grant was told during the international break 10 days ago that it was likely that he would be taking over sooner rather than later, which does suggest that in Mark's words there was a certain inevitability about what happened. Further breakdowns between Abramovich and Mourinho. Mourinho was not happy that Abramovich met representatives of Ronaldinho during the summer. He saw it as a similar scenario to the Shevchenko deal. And also Mike Ford, the former performance director at Bolton, who was recruited by Abramovich in the summer, was not a Mourinho appointment. And again, I think that led to the breakdown between the two, which obviously has been festering for a long time. There was a certain inevitability about this, I'm told.
Sure. And what do you think about what's going to happen here on in?
Well, Avram Grant is the immediate future for Chelsea. No UEFA Pro licence means that he can only be in charge for 12 weeks unless they can try and get some special dispensation. He certainly won't get his licence in 12 weeks, that's for sure. Now, someone who might benefit, and we haven't talked about yet, Frank Arneson. He'll be able to move out of the Chelsea Academy now, have more of an input into first-team affairs. Mourinho wouldn't allow that to happen. Pete de Visser, the person who is Abramovich's personal football consultant, paid by Abramovich, not by Chelsea. Well, he's a former PSV coach, along with Arneson, who's another former PSV coach. Gus Hiddink, he may be available in 12 weeks' time if Russia don't qualify for Euro 2008. Future for Mourinho, not in England. How does Martignol feel this morning? Probably not very happy. What about Frank Rijkaard, Claudio Ranieri, others at big clubs around Europe? They'll be watching their backs. They'd better be performing because Mourinho's available.
Interesting. Thanks, Steve. Well, Avram Grant's appointment has been hailed in Israel as the same as Neil Armstrong landing on the moon. He took his home nation to the verge of World Cup qualification. He also won 4 league titles with 2 different clubs in Israel. But what do we really know about him?
Grant was introduced to the Stamford Bridge hierarchy by the so-called super agent Pini Zahavi, who's close friends with chief executive Peter Kenyon as well as Roman Abramovich. The billionaire owner asked another close friend, Portsmouth chairman Alexander Gaidamak, to find Grant a job in the management setup at Fratton Park, and he was soon installed as director of football at Portsmouth, alongside manager Harry Redknapp, an appointment which initially annoyed Redknapp, but he's understood to have warmed to the genial Israeli. His brief tenure at Pompey over, Grant was appointed at Chelsea as the regime sought to diminish Mourinho's power. With Frank Arneson already in place with responsibility for youth development, Grant joined the board as director of football this season and took on an undefined role as special coach to Andrei Shevchenko and link between the board and management team. The appointment angered Mourinho, with the new man often seen at his shoulder on match days. Now, with Mourinho gone through no apparent fault of Grant's, speculation's rife about the long-term succession. The question many fans are asking isn't Avram who, but Avram how long?
Well, let's see what you think about Avram Grant's appointment. Do you think he'll be more successful than José Mourinho at Chelsea? Text us yes or no to 81111. They'll be charged at standard network rates, normally around 10 to 12p. So will Avram Grant be more successful than Mourinho? Text yes or no to 81111. The vote will close in 5 minutes. Marcel, what about this story this morning then, that, you know, Avram Grant doesn't possess the right kind of qualification here in the UK. It's not recognised by the FA, so he's got 12 weeks period of grace, and then things will start to get interesting.
He doesn't have really the high-level experience like they were asking him about the Champions League, how many games he has played, but still he's having an experience because he won the league in Israel, you know, the Israeli league, but it's true that it's strange that he doesn't have the license, but they will put somebody, you know, in front and he will be there behind to try and... Important thing that the link come with the players.
Right.
after the license, we don't really bother.
Okay, I'll tell you what's interesting. If he isn't the long-term solution for Chelsea, the next man favourite for the job, according to the bookies, is your old friend Didier Deschamps. What do you think of that?
Oh, the way that we see the things that Avram Graham was behind, and it looks like maybe the coach will not have the team in control. Didier have left Juventus because also he was not, happy about the way that things was going on. He was feeling like, he was under control by the rest of the people. Then it might be a bit difficult for him to accept any proposition. But Chelsea is so big, so high that you sometimes you have to accept.
It's an amazing business, isn't it?
It is.
Avram Grant hasn't even, he's been a manager 2 days and we're already saying who's his successor is going to be.
I know. But I mean, the thing is, we've seen his qualifications. We've seen the 6 Champions League games he's been in charge of. He hasn't taken charge of a game outside Israel. So you have to ask a question.
Well, you could ask a question. When Arsene Wenger came to Arsenal, everybody went, Arsene who? All right, he had managed at a different level. We just do not know. And the other thing as well, don't forget, is that if he's backed by Abramovich, which obviously he seriously is because of what's happened, who's to say in January they don't go and buy a Ronaldinho or you just never ever know. But it stinks a bit. The other thing, and I think this is the worst thing, and this is, if it's true, is what Tottenham have been doing. If they've seriously been ringing Mourinho and offering him the job, if I was Martin Jol, I would be knocking on the chairman's door this morning saying, listen, pay me contract up, please don't keep insulting me, let me walk off into the sunset and you go and get yourself a new manager.
Wow. Well, Mourinho's position can't have been helped by Arsenal's good start to the season. They're top of the table on a much smaller budget than Chelsea. Jonathan Pearce is at the Emirates for Arsenal.